had much direction from CDE or from the feds. So everybody's kind of doing the best they can, which is what Kristen Wright asked us to do. And so we really need to stick together and help each other out. So it's absolutely wonderful that we have an avenue that we can come together. And the fact that we have teachers who have volunteered to present today of what they're doing. And again, there's no right or wrong at this point in time because everybody's doing things a little bit differently. And being able to hear what other people are doing may help us to develop our programs a little bit better as well. So with that being said, there's a quote from Mother Teresa that I think is really important. And it says, I can do things you cannot. You can do things that I cannot. But together we can do great things. And I think as we keep it together and we move forward, we can do great things and we can make this program distance learning, whatever that might be, and make it viable for all of our students that we're working with. So I hope you get this opportunity to learn a lot, to hear a lot, and that you can continue to connect with people so that you've got some other ideas that you can use with your families. And I'll hand it back to Shelley.
Thank you so very much, Pam. I'd like to just put a shout out to Pam and the RCOE team that they've been very supportive through this process, and it's been a wonderful thing to do with RCOE. So with that being said, I kind of want to go ahead and go to the next slide. For large group etiquette, think of this meeting as a face-to-face meeting and conduct yourselves as you would if you were all present in the same room. Go ahead, Ez. We're going to leave you on, go ahead to the next screen, Ez. Here's some useful tips. Have your video on unless you're experiencing connectivity issues. It's an easy thing for us to kind of zone away, but you know, it's a really good thing for us to be able to focus together. Woo! Ez, what are you doing to me, girl? What are you doing? So it's good to be in a quiet space without interruptions, plain background, and make sure that you're muting when you're not talking. It's very hard to hear kind of what's going on and to be able to focus our attention. Next slide. Try to avoid talking over someone. So some of our presenters today said, yeah, we definitely want questions along the way. Some people are like, hey, can we hold those questions to the end? So let's try to have some order when we're going through questions. It probably would be best to go through the chat, and then we can introduce people in so that we can guide the work. And so I will be your host, like Oprah, as much as I can. So we want to direct the questions to the chat box, and we'll be monitoring. I have 3 people helping me monitor those today. So I will let you know if people want questions during the time, because the best way to kind of get the most out of this is to be able to ask questions and be able to interact. It's just hard with 224 of you on the same video. Next slide. So we are now going to move on to our presenting educators. I'd like to thank you all. Some or if not all of you at some point said, oh God, I didn't know that there was going to be this many people, or oh my gosh, I wouldn't have done this. Is, you know what, we can all teach each other something. And so I really would like to thank the people that went out on a limb and said, yeah, I'll present. Some of you were voluntold to do so, so God bless you on that one too. But we're going to start off, go ahead, next slide, Ez. We're going to start out with Angela Galloway Thornton. She most currently is in one of our MOVE classrooms, and so that has some of our most profound students in them, but it's moderate to severe with multiple disabilities. With all of these individuals, I have their email addresses up there in case you want to reach out and contact somebody else. We're going to do our best to make sure that we are going to get all the information that's in the chat and get all the information from our presenters so that we can send it out to you guys. However, their email addresses are on here also. So Angela, we are going to share the screen with you, and please take it away, Miss Angela.
Awesome. Thank you. Hello, how are you? Thank you. I'm going to share a sway. So most of us have an opportunity to have access to Microsoft 360. Well, one of the apps, or one of the one of the apps in the 365 is a Sway. So most of us are probably very familiar with the PowerPoint presentations and the slides. Well, Microsoft Sway is PowerPoint on crack. So let's take a look at what it what it is, and actually what I've done to use it with most of my students, recognizing that for a lot of our students, they're not necessarily able to access those paper pencil tasks, but still wanting to make sure that they're fully engaged. So am I able to share my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
I am. Okay, awesome. Okay, so here's my Sway. And what you'll notice is when you enter in, and I'm just going to take you to what it would look like. So this is my regular email, right? My and if you'll notice here where the Office 360 is, if you go here, it'll give you all of these different apps. And there goes Sway. And so if you open up Sway, it gives you some options. So here you'll notice that it has all these different templates for you to choose, or you can do one of your own. So I'm just going to show, just share my most recent one. Ta-da. So what it ends up showing you, it basically allows you to work in, is almost like a storyline. So you're able to kind of place your items. So you'll notice that it aligns itself in a pretty much like a PowerPoint slide would. You're able to add different elements. One of the awesome things that I loved about this platform is that input is super easy. So I'm just going to kind of show you this one. I was able to add my picture, but let's say in the middle of it, I have something awesome I want to put in there. Literally, you just add. And you have these different options. You can add a text, you can do a header, which actually will give you a whole different section. You can add images, and then you can stack. So in other words, in one slide, it actually allows you to place multiple images or text or even media. Now, this platform.
So, Angela, I want to go ahead and ask a question, because you said go ahead and let you ask along the way. So one of our participants is asking, do parents, students have access to Sway? So what do they see on their end is what the question is.
Awesome, amazing question. So what ends up happening is once you're ready to play, I don't know if you're able to see this, up in your right-hand corner, it will allow you to share. If you go to share, it has different options that allow you to share it. So you can just share it with specific people in specific groups, and then you add their email addresses, or anyone who in the organization that you're in, you can just share with them. The best way to share it with your parents, and this is the way that I share it with mine, is that I do anyone with a link. And I choose the view option only, and then I do the copy. And what they're able to see is they're actually able to see it as a play. And of course, it's because my screen is so huge that this is, it's showing like this. But they basically have the option to scroll through and play your PowerPoint.
So, so there is also a question of, can you implement a video in Sway? So yes, so one of the things you can put in there is a video. Angela, can you show them a video? Because girl, I know you put some awesome ones in there.
So I
have
have a birthday coming up. So what I did is, one of the things that I tried to do rather, is try to share the elements from my Google Classroom. At this time, you're not able to, but you can still, as long as you have it on your desktop or in your Google Drive, you can import videos. So this is, okay, I have to play it. So this is my, my birthday video.
Oh, you didn't share your sound. You do not even understand the sound that was in this before. When you share your screen, you have to click it, but so you're singing actually on top of the host. So for our deaf and hard of hearing teachers, you might like that as you can insert yourself. So go ahead and share with us how you did that, Miss
Sorry.
Angela.
I apologize. So I'm going to go back to edit. And this is the other thing that's really awesome about this platform. You can actually go in, edit, you can play it, say, I don't necessarily like that, and just go back directly into your storyline and edit that. But if you go over here to your far right, it gives you these beautiful options, and you can say insert. And then let's say I say, oh, I want a birthday song. You can either put whatever it is that you want in this search box, or because like I said, this platform is pretty intuitive, and depending on what it is that you're talking about, it literally will pick up different suggestions. So let's say I say, I want a birthday song. It either gives me, either images or videos, or I have the option to do both. So let's go ahead and choose Stevie Wonder. So literally you just add, put in media, and literally just, you can push, select the video that you want and add the video, and there it goes for you. Let's say you decide that you just want an image. You can go back over here and just choose just an image of just the birthday. And it comes up with these options. And once again, you can either drag and drop, or you can actually insert and add. And then it lays it out for you. The other thing about this platform is, and I wanted to go to a stackable platform. And like the other thing is, you're able to add it, you're able to arrange it any way that you like. But if you go to a stackable platform, so this one right here basically allowed me to stack my options. So what does that mean when I'm talking about stacking an option? If I go in here, I can say, oh, well, I want multiple videos on potty training, or resources for families to give them options. So you go in here, choose potty training. And then it will come up with all of these different areas. So I say, okay, well, I want this one. That one's awesome. And I want another one. And I'm going to stack another video. And then you'll notice that when you get ready to play, these will actually be in the same box or the same slide.
So Angela, I'm going to pause you just for a second because I wanted to catch up with the questions that are going on right now. And so number one, there was a lot of questions about Sway. Sway is part of the Microsoft Office suite. And so RCOE does have that as part of the suite, but many teachers didn't even know they had it before Angela was like, oh, hey, you guys need to check this out. So if you put it in your Google Classroom, you do not, the parents don't have to have Sway. It basically puts things together so that you have a good way of presenting information to your people. And then, so it's really on the teacher side that you need to be able to do that. It also connects you to images and videos that Microsoft has a part of, and it will also link you to stuff that's on the internet, correct, Angela? The
yes.
stuff on the right-hand side is just basically on the internet, but allows you to search, right?
Yes, and I mean, and it's pretty, what I have found is that it's pretty, it's limitless, because even in, like, let's say that you can't find the video that you're looking for, but you know that it's somewhere. If you go to the YouTube video that you wanted to share in here, you could just literally put that YouTube URL address here, and it'll populate here, and you can easily add. I will say that downloading your own or uploading your own videos tends to take a lot longer than if you just select from Sway's suggestions. But I haven't been able to not add something to the presentation.
Okay, so I am being a bad host and I didn't tell you you only have a minute left.
No worries,
There's
I'm good.
lots of questions, so I'm going to go ahead and clarify some of those questions so that we can kind of keep moving. A lot of people are like, how did she add herself to that birthday video? Can you just tell us at least the program that you use? Because I know you can't totally go into it right now, but there is some interest on how you put that on there. And the other question is can you add that to a Seesaw? I'm not sure that you've ever used a Seesaw account. So, so similar to a Google site. So if you could answer those questions, it would help a lot of our users right now.
So in terms of the video, I basically used a combination of iMovie and a green screen, which honestly is just green poster board. And I videotape and add and share. I will tell you that there is, and I'll find it and put it in the link. There is a young lady on YouTube who basically I watch her every single day. And YouTube has actually been my friend because prior to this situation, I knew absolutely nothing about doing any of those techniques. So, and like she said, my email address is there. I'm loving it right now. So email me. 2 o'clock in the morning, I am up. So
I know she really, and I'm answering her sometimes at 11 o'clock at night. So that's how psycho we are right now. So I
Open that door, Angela.
So Angela, thank you so much
thank you.
for kind of for sharing what you're doing. Her principal just kind of chimed in here and says she even uses Sway for IEP presentations and being able to present things to information. And she did not want to come on here, so I really want to thank Angela for presenting today. And I know some of you are like, I need to hear more about this. I think all the presenters that we're going to have here today, you're going to say, I want to hear more about that, and we'll figure out how we'll do that later. But I wanted you at least to wet your whistle on what some people are doing. So thank you so much, Angela.
One more.
Yes.
And just to let you know too, you can easily edit and share. So you can send that same link that I showed you. You can also send it to someone to edit, and so they're able to input information. And then multiple people, which I was trying to get to do, multiple people can actually share the same video with shared information. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Angela. So before we move on to our next RCOE presenter, if you can throw up the PowerPoint of her name at least, I would like to introduce to you all Dr. Reggie Tompkins, who is our Associate Superintendent for RCOE for the County of Riverside. And so he was in here today. So if you just wanted to say hi and wish us all well, I would love that, Reggie. Or not. Reggie.
They're going to turn the volume on, right?
Oh, there you are. Sorry, sir. Hi, Reggie.
How you guys doing?
Good. So we have about 230 educators from Riverside and all over Southern California here today.
And I tell you what, I just watched Angela's presentation. She set the bar pretty high. Nice job, Angela. This is awesome because this, I think, is something that we all need. And I'll just say very quickly, thank you, every single person on this call, because the reason you're here is because you want to be the best you can for our students out there with regard to our special needs. So appreciate you all. Thank you for always looking to get better and be the best. And hopefully this is something that's very useful for you, and we'll continue trying to support everything that we need to do. So appreciate you guys, appreciate Pam and Shelley leading this, but also really appreciate the presenters. So thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you, Reggie. And thanks for all you do to support RCOE programs. I've loved working with you this year, so good times. So we're going to move on to Genevieve Game, who teaches primary elementary in our autism program, which is a non-diploma program. You see her email address up there. And so take it away, Miss Genevieve. Genevieve.
Genevieve. Okay, so starting this Google Classroom, I kind of was lost like everybody else. And I think over the weeks, I kind of saw what worked. I just thought about my students really. And a lot of my students, a lot of kids, I have first and second graders, a lot of kids that age love like iPad games, love learning with technology. So for my class, let me show you. I started doing what's known as like boom cards, and it's really worked because a lot of my parents have been saying like I've had multiple kids in my household. I can't really be there with the child and like do paper and pencil or like have them input things because a lot of my kids don't even know how to like type yet. So let me give you an example about some of the boom cards I created. Well, some of them I actually bought with some of my co-teachers, and some of them I actually created. And the cool thing about creating some is that you could do it all based on their level. So I kind of want my students to know their personal information. And instead of having like a parent ask them, I've been creating boom cards for them. So this is one of my students. It's kind of like a student that has a hard time differentiating between things. So I gave him a more basic boom card. And you might hear my voice, sorry. So yeah, his name is Paul. So he would just go and it'll say, what is your name? He clicks Paul. And then
what is your name?
That's my voice. So yeah, and I kind of made it green every single time just so it kind of be like a visual cue for him. Like,
what is your name?
My name is always the green one. And then I have another kid that he is a little bit more, he has a little bit more skills. And I went over with him a couple more information. Oh, I'm sorry, let me move this around. So him, I'm going over more his name, his school and his parents' name. And he's more in a field of 4. And I just kind of started creating boom cards based on my students' needs. And I know a lot of my kids, they're really good about doing iPad stuff. I know like in classroom, they love doing like interactive games. So I also created stuff that could be like more of their interest. I personally love Toy Story, so I started creating a lot of Toy Story boom cards. And like I said, on TPT, there's a lot that you could already buy and purchase, but as I started working on them, I just started to realize that I need to be more specific on what my students like to learn or what they're capable of learning. And as I go on, I'm gonna include more of their interests because they all like different things. And I kind of made a slideshow of their weekly schedule. So like this student loves Transformers. My other student loves Super Mario. And I try to make it so it's appealing to them right when they see it. And a lot of my parents really like this just because their kid could just be on the iPad, click on it, do the boom cards, and have fun. But then I also started thinking about kids that not necessarily can work on the iPad, and that's where I started using my aides. So my aides have started creating videos for my students that not necessarily can hold an iPad and work on it. So I'm gonna show you one of the videos that my aides created.
Can I ask you a few questions right now? There's some questions are is the boom cards an add-on program or a program you buy into? And from what I understand, it's an internet site, correct?
Yeah, it's Boom Learning. And you could buy, so this is the website, and you could buy some. So some of these are really great, and these are some that I purchased with some of my other co-teachers. And so you could buy them. And then there's also ways you could create them. So this is site word construction. There's all different kinds of boom cards you could either pay into or you could create yourself. The cool thing about Boom Learning too is that another thing when I thought about like the parents, I know they have like tons of logins and it ends up being a lot of work to keep track of passwords and screen names. But what's cool about Boom Learning is that you could just put a fast pin link, and that's what I put in their schedule just so it goes straight to the boom card. They don't have to worry about logging in. They don't have to worry about passwords or screen names. It's just straightforward. And a lot of my parents have liked this. just because, like I said, they could just give their kid their iPad and they feel like they're doing a game. But I also wanted to, like I said, I have one student that doesn't do very well when it comes to like holding an iPad or interacting with an iPad. So I really utilize my instructional assistants to like create videos. And so this is an example of one.
Okay, so for this video, we're gonna be sorting random clothes from the house. I also just used 5 bins that I had around the house in the backyard. Use anything that you have to signify the colors. Okay.
And then she goes on to like kind of the kids that her niece and nephew actually live with her, so they go through it, and she kind of gives a little shout out to the parents.
That you're not going to be 100% successful each time. Even us as educators, we never have 100% successes. So just don't be too hard on yourselves. This project can also be modified. You could use fewer colors if that fits your child's needs. You could also use toys or any other household items that you feel would keep your child's interest the best.
We also have done like fun videos. So I try to include my aides as much as possible because I want it to be like a shared experience for us. We don't know how long this is happening, so I just want them to be involved. So they're all their nieces and nephews, their children really like making videos. So each week we're kind of coming up with new videos to do for those kids that you won't necessarily click on things on an iPad. So those 2 things have been working the best. And I know a lot of my parents are asking for more boom cards because, like I said, to the kids, they kind of seem like a game. And I think obviously with the videos, seeing familiar faces really helps with kids kind of paying attention to it more than just a random YouTube video. And it's just a way for my aides to feel involved and feel like they're being helpful for our classroom. So it's been great. And as we go on, I just see so much potential for it. So it's a great resource too. And I try to create things that I know I'm going to use even when we go back to the classroom.
So just try to, as always, have.
So I know with these boom cards, the boom cards I created, I could send them to the teacher that my students are having next. And the more personalized I make them, it could be something they work on in their next classroom.
Now, Genevieve, have you and your teachers at your school site shared boom cards? So you're like, oh, I've got this thing on numbers, or oh, I've got this thing. Are you guys like using your power together so that you can use common resources?
Yes. Well, me and a couple of my co-teachers, all of them, Bryce, Carly, when I first looked into it, we just bought a growing pack. So some of these were already like made. And then I started to learn how to make boom cards on my own, and just to kind of include, more stuff that's like of their interest, so I can move on to like doing Sonic with some of this stuff, just so I could kind of get my students attention, because some of these might be.
Can you click into one? Some of our users want to actually look at some other ones you've done, either one that you've done or one that you've bought. I just think they want a little more examples of maybe a way that you use them in math or maybe English language arts.
Okay, yeah, this is one I made. Like I said, I love Toy Story. So there's different kinds you could make. This one is more like a drag, and I have my voice attached to some of these. And then, so this is a preposition one, and I kind of make sure I have that visual cue for them to know which preposition that they're doing. We also have, so that's more for my students working on prepositions, but I also have just a simple, let's try this one out. So click on the big toy. I try to vary the levels that I'm doing because I know my students are different across the board, and I want them to be able to like have fun and have access. And I think with these boom cards, what's really cool about it is that they get automatic reinforcement if they get it right, and if they get it wrong, they're told right away that it's wrong. So it kind of helps them. And they just practice on these. And like I said, when I got into this Google Classroom, I really wanted to start making things that I could use outside of our Google Classroom, like when we get back to class, so I could still use this, like if I'm doing work with teacher with multiple students, I could work on one drill with one student, and with the other student, I could have some of these pre-made booms that I made, and I'd be like let's work on these booms while I'm working with another student. So I'm just trying to think of like future wise and try to make sure that anything I'm doing, I'm going to be able to use even when we go back.
Okay, so we are at the end of the 10 minutes. It went super fast. So I want to kind of round up the questions. And so all the sounds that you put on there are something that you created. So you could turn on and off sounds for positive and negatives based on what you wanted set up, correct?
Well, the positive and negative sounds are already on there. The sounds that I put myself are more like the directions, because I know like a lot of my students can't read. And like I said, I try to make it easy for parents. So I literally put Rex on top of the ball. So I literally recorded kind of like the directions, just in case like a child who can't read could understand the direction without having a parent right there. Because I think a lot of my parents were saying like, it's just hard to juggle. And I kind of want to just encourage not only them to use it, but also the kids to use it. And I know if I, focus on simplicity and my kids' interest, that I'll have more participation that way.
So I think Adrian Brewer is talking about it can track their work, but you will need to log in. If you don't want them to log in, it won't track their progress. There were some questions about being able to track progress and those kind of things, but I think those questions may have been answered. Does anybody else have any questions that they want to unclick and we can actually hear somebody else's voice? Any other questions right now?
I didn't really have a question, but I did want to share that on Instagram, there's a really awesome group called the Autism Helper. And it's an educational consultant website, but they have a lot of information regarding the boom cards and homemade stuff. And it's kind of a cool multi-dimensional site that you guys can look at.
Awesome. If you can put that resource in the chat, we're going to make sure.
I don't know how.
Okay. Well, then we will try to help you. Thank you for being transparent about your skill level, because we're all special educators and we should be able to help you. So good times. Thank you for sharing that. I have to tell you, Genevieve, there's a lot of people that are really enjoying the boom cards on here. So a lot of positive praise going on. So thank you so very much. So we're going to go ahead. Oh no, I don't know where Ez is at. She just came back in. So thank you very much, Genevieve, sorry, I always want to do that to your name. We are going to transition now to our next presenter, who is Michelle Shaddy. Michelle also spent some time in San Bernardino, so we got her earlier starts there, but we were lucky enough to snag her up. She teaches at the middle school for moderate to severe disabilities, which are differing disabilities, and there is her email address. So we can't wait to hear from you, Miss Michelle.
Hi, my name is Michelle Shaddy, and I work with RCOE at Harupa Middle School, and I'm going to go over with you today using interactive worksheets on Google Classroom. And I'm just going to put into the chat right now some links for you.
Hey, Michelle?
Uh-huh.
Maybe you can stop your video so that your sound will come in better.
Your virtual background.
Not working.
Thank you for you guys who have put the Autism Helper on there, that Instagram. That is a good resource for each other and helping out your friend that mentioned it, while Michelle is trying to figure out her settings. Just go ahead and put your video back on, Miss Michelle. Let's see if you're doing any better.
All right, can you hear me now?
We're good. Go
All
ahead.
right, all right, start my 10 minutes over, okay? So anyway, the first link that I put in is a YouTube video that is how I learned how to do interactive worksheets. And then there is a link for the website that you need to use it. And then my email address as well, just in case you need that. And then I'm going to share my screen. So, there we go. So first I just wanted to show you a sample of what an interactive worksheet would look like. and it's done in Google Slides here. And if you look, I have a red box here, which allows for typing. The students can put their name in, and then it makes sure that you can move stuff around. It just makes it interactive. The stuff that I have here, I pulled off of Unique Learning Systems, and I originally had tried to give everybody a login and have them go log in and do the work through Unique, and that failed miserably in my class. So I needed to come up with another way for my kids to access. Here's another example where you can take the circle and then drag it onto the correct answer. Down here you can show, don't worry if I'm getting the answers right. So it's just something that's interactive. So the first thing that you would need is you need to have a PDF to be able to make this work. And then you're going to go to this website, pdf-to-images.com, and you're going to switch over to PDF to PNG. And then you're going to hit upload files. And when you do that, you can search and drag in whichever ones you wanted. And I would do chapter 5 questions. And it will upload, but in the interest of time, I already did that. So then it shows here when it's uploaded, you click download and it shows up down in the corner, and you open up your download. And what I did is I just take a folder that I already created, and I take these and I drag them in, which I also already did, so I'm not going to do it again. And that gives you the images in here. So you'll see like my chapter 5 questions started off as a PDF, and it broke it, it's 2 pages, so it broke it down. And then the next step is to go into your Google Drive, and you can go, I'll go into my classroom, and go to the folder that you want it to save in, and then click new. And when you get to new, you're going to do a new slide. And then it's always like this when the slide's open, and I just want to get rid of, I don't want a title or any of that. So, oh, sorry, it's working slowly. I take all of this out. And then also, if you go into File, you can reformat your pages down at the bottom at Page Setup. And I do Custom. And I'm going to do 7.5 by 10, but you can do 8.5 by 11 or whatever works best for you. Some of mine are actually in landscape and not portrait. And then I know this is going to be a 2-page activity. So I come up here to the plus and hit the drop down, and at the bottom I can add a second blank page. And then this is when I can start putting in the background so that it gives me the page that I want, the worksheet that I want. So I'm going to come up here to background and click on it, and it says choose image. And then that is going to open, and that's where I'm going to go to my file here, and I'm going to pick page 1, chapter 5, page 1, and just drag it in, or you can search it through browse. And that pulls it in as a background, and I'm going to do the second page as well. And I'm going to go again to background, choose image, and I'm going to do chapter 5, questions, page 2. And that pulls it in again as an image. And now I'm going to go ahead and start editing it so that it can become interactive. So when you pull it in as a background, they can't move anything around. And I know that's a problem that my kids have if stuff can be moved around on the page other than what I intend to have moved around. So I like this for that reason. The first thing is I want to do a text box. So right here, you can either do insert or do text box here. And I'm just going to put a text box in. And then I'm going to start formatting my text box. So the first thing I want to check is that my fill color is transparent. And then I'm going to do my border color as red so that it stands out on the page. And then I'm going to do my border weight as 2, so it's a little bit thicker. I'm going to change here to 30-point font, and then I'm going to kind of do my alignment to center so that they can click anywhere on the screen, and then change my alignment again to center of the box. And then I want the same box to be in both, so I'm going to right click and copy, and I'm going to come up to my other slide and just paste it in so that I don't have to do the work twice, and it will paste in. And then now I have a box that my student can enter their name when they're doing the worksheet. I'm going to come back to the second worksheet. Now I want them to be able to select an answer. So I'm going to come and add a shape. So there's two ways to add shape. You can come up here and add shape, or you can do insert and do shapes. And I'm going to select circle, and you just make an oval that's big enough to cover what you want. And then you're going to start formatting that as well. So you come up here again and you switch your fill color to transparent. I like to do my line color red. If you don't like red, you can pick whatever color you want. I change the weight to 2, and then I'm going to move it over to the side so that they know that they can do it. And then I want to have enough for each one. So if you do Control D, then that will duplicate, and you can do 3 more. And then just drag them down. And then I like everything to be even. So I select it all, and I can come to arrange and align, and I can align center, and then arrange again and distribute, and I can distribute it vertically, and that way it's all even. And then I need to make a little dot down here for number 5 for them to move. You could do a dot. You can import a check mark or image off of the internet if you want to, but I just think it's a little easier just to do a shape. And then if you hold down shift, you can make a perfect circle. And then I'll just format that. This time I want to do my fill color as red. And that just makes a circle that's movable, so they can move it onto the correct answer. So that worksheet would be complete for the second page. I'm going to go back up to the first page. So for this one, I want to be able to give them the picture images that go along with it. So I already have that open up. Over here, this is what came from Unique, and I want to be able to give them these picture images. So I'm going to use my snipping tool. The other option, if you don't have snipping tool, or and I have new, I'm going to do a rectangular snip, is to import the whole thing as an image and then just crop it for the ones that you want. But snipping tool is really nice. It'll just give me what I want, and then I can copy it. Here's the copy button, and go back over and paste it in. I'm just going to bring it over here, and you can do that with all of them. I'm just going to do a couple for you. And copy it, and then paste it in again, and keep going that way. And then I like them to be a little bit bigger. You can just drag on the corner to change the size, or if you want to, you can come to format options. And then you can do size. I like to make mine 1.5 by 1.5. Same with this one. Format options. 1.5 by 1.5. And you can do it with all of them, and you can align them the way I aligned the other ones, or the red lines will help you line it up. And then you would want to come up and title your presentation. So this one would be Chapter 5 questions. Yeah. Love typing on screen. Chapter 5 questions, and then all of your stuff is automatically saved in your drive. And then another thing that you can do so that you don't have to redo this over and over again is you can go ahead and make a copy. Once you close this and you hit file, it'll give you the chance to make a copy. I'm going to show you and make it your master. So I made a master already. And when you have a master, by copying it and renaming it.
Michelle, I'm going to give you your 60-second countdown, and then I'm going to have a couple questions for you before we move on to the next person, okay?
Okay. So then when you have a master, I'll show you really quickly on the master. You can do file, make a copy of the entire presentation, and then you can just change your background, but your formatting is all still there. So you don't have to reinvent it every single time. So then Sorry, my internet is so slow. So you can redo the background without changing the format. And when you choose a new image, like I can put on chapter 6 on this now. And now it's chapter 6, but I didn't have to redo all of the text boxes. And then pretend I named it chapter 6 up here. And then you can assign it in your Google Classroom. And the one thing I wanted to say is once you go assigning it in your Google Classroom, make sure that you switch this box to make a copy for each student. And that way they're not editing your master copy. And that
Okay,
is
some
how I use it.
clarifying questions, Miss Michelle, and I thank you so much. So the snipping tool that you use, that was just for, that's just the snipping tool that's on your computer, correct? With your operating system on a PC, correct?
Yes, correct. And if you don't have snipping tool, you can do a screenshot of what you have, or you can do the same process of changing it into the image and then just insert an image and then crop it into just the section that you want.
Okay, we are breaking up a little bit, and so somebody else was asking, where do you find Adobe Acrobat Editor? And so that is a free program. That was another question Brian Clark came up or was answering somebody, or Diana was answering. But yes, Adobe Acrobat Editor is a paid service. But there are some PDF things that you can do other places, and this is one of the things that Michelle is seeing to kind of go around it. Snipping tool is included if you have Windows. Sorry, just kind of clicking through and wanting to bring everybody kind of some questions. They're also using, like on a Mac, you can do Command plus and then 4 to take a screenshot. MacBooks also have a grab one. Kari in San Bernardino loves to use Snagit. So there's a lot of different things that you can use. So thank you so very much, Michelle, for bringing that up. And so I want to pause for a second. And before we go on to our next presenter, we are going to take an environmental break of like 8 minutes. But I also want to say kind of out loud to you guys that there is a possibility. I know we're moving very fast and 10 minutes goes very fast, but maybe at the end when we do the evaluation, we can talk about how maybe we could go more in depth, because some of you are like, I would like to hear them for another hour, or I'd like to hear Genevieve for another hour. And so we'll figure out how we do all this when we get kind of to the end. But if you go ahead and flip to the next thing, I think it's time for our environmental break. And so we're going to take an 8-minute time out for our environmental break. And so why don't everybody go ahead and take a break right now, and we'll have an 8-minute timer up there, and we will see you back here in 8 minutes, and we will start off with San Bernardino.
Thank you, everybody.
Press the play button so we have the 8-minute timer as Okay, we had to restart the clock, but we are at about a minute, but I know that there's not a lot of people back at their chairs. So we got a 1 minute till it's go time. So Kari, get yourself together, calm down. Don't start talking yet. Just calm down. You're gonna
Can you
talk
hear?
slow, okay? You're gonna
I'm
talk.
going to talk slow, Shelley. I'm going to talk slow. Slowly, slowly.
There's no reason. These are all moderate to severe people. These are your people. It's fine. Your people.
I just want to make sure I share the screen correctly. I'm hoping I do that correctly.
Well, this is going swimmingly. Do you see I even put your logos on there, Miss Kari?
I know, it looks quite lovely.
It does, lovely.
I like moderate to severe differing disabilities. Interesting.
Well, because RCO, every district I'm finding calls things something different. And so
okay.
these classrooms like that are have differing multiple disabilities in them, you guys call
Right.
moderate to severe. In RCOE, they would call those alive classrooms, and I'm not even sure what the name is. One of my instructional support people could probably pipe up and tell us. But then we have autism specific classrooms, and so I wanted to be able to make sure that everybody understood the kind of perspective. So
Okay.
so we're going to go ahead and get back started. Thank you all for coming back. We're going to move through. So I would like to introduce to you Miss Kari Nelson, who is a teacher support person at San Bernardino Unified, which is where I spent the last 20 years. And so Miss Kari, can you share with us what's going on in San Bernardino?
Okay, so I'm hoping this goes correctly. Share video.
You're going to do awesome.
Okay, so I just hit the green button, share, and then, okay, so I think this, okay, did I do this correctly?
I see it. You got the basics up there, girl.
Okay, so I'm just going to kind of go over our basics, our scope and sequence, our Google Drive, and our Google Classroom. So I'll start with our scope and sequence. And what we were in the midst of creating a scope and sequence for our basics, and then this happened. And so we were trying to think of how we could make this distance learning activity-based, and like what you said, Shelley, work smarter, not harder. And so the teachers, we went through our 5 domains, and what we did is we came up with our basic standard and put in our basic standard in, what the goal area is, our activity and materials, and then some technology. So we went through each, we gave 3 examples for each to help the teachers, just another resource of how to use their, like I said, their basics with household items and counting, household items, what they could use. And we went all the way to K through 22, all the way to 6th. And even in domestic, for example, we did grooming and hygiene. They're going to wash their hands. They're going to sing along. It's soap and water, because like I said, we were trying to find household items and things they could do at home, and then included all videos and resources and so on. So this is just something that we went through, again, all 5 domains, appropriate social interaction. So these are all our basic standards, and we of course color coded, because we love to be color coded, organized. So this is a great resource for the teachers to, and we worked on this with teachers, as we always do, and teacher support. I have a partner for secondary, and we worked through all of this to just give the teachers another support if they need it for lesson plans or suggestions, because we didn't want to reinvent the wheel. So we're like, let's take what we already have, our basics and the standards, and how can we make it to give to the teachers to use as a stepping stone or as some way to help them. Again, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. And so the other thing, how come it won't, okay, let me move my thing down. And the next we have a shared drive in our Google Drive.
Okay, can I have you pause for the cause for just 1 second, Kari?
Yeah.
So people out in the great wide world, some of you use the Sandy to kind of guide your work. Some of you use the basics. And so in San Bernardino is the basics, which is a framework for moderate to severe disabilities. And they have 5 domain areas. The 5 domain areas are domestic, vocational, functional academics, community, and I don't know.
Leisure.
Rec leisure, sorry. So just so that you guys know, Sandy users from San Bernardino, I'm not San Bernardino, Sandy users from Riverside County, you have some different things going on, but that doesn't mean you guys can't share and understand what each other is doing. So I just wanted to say that out loud. So when she refers to the different domains, is referring to the basics curriculum. So just wanted to say that out loud. Continue on, Miss Kari.
Really quick. I just want to chime in. If you're thinking of basics and Sandy, domains can be applied to Sandy as well. We have reading, writing, speaking, listening, and all the other domains. So this can be set up in the same way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Kari. Sorry.
No. And then we have a Google Drive for, as you see, we have 131 people. So we have a Google Drive. And in that is all the resources that teachers and anyone submitted that would help. And we kind of organized it loosely based on the 5 domains here. And the teachers all just gave us lots of information that they have, whether it's stuff that they use in the classroom, alternative, PCI, we love PCI, any type of curriculum or something that would help. So like one of them in functional academic math, they're just any type of resources that everything from addition to, can you write a check, money, so it's coloring by numbers, color, number, vocabulary. So here's tons and tons of life skill math, dollar up. So it's just filled with resources, community. We keep this drive as well. We have signs, we have pictures, menu map, life skills readers that we use in our district. Simple, what's your favorite cereal? So we have tons and tons of resources that we want to make sure, again, we're providing to our teachers so they can help them with their activity-based learning. Or again, we don't want to reinvent the wheel and we want to work smarter, not harder. Love that. And then what we also have is, which we really love, is we have our Google Classroom for all our teachers. And it's great because the demonstration teachers and the other teacher support, my partner for secondary, and the program specialist, we can post things in the Google stream that go out to all our teachers because we made them the students. So this goes to all 100 teachers that we have. And the best part, and this is also a link where we have meetings, we have office hours. So teachers come to our office hours. You know, we do an hour 3 times a week or so on. So that's been really, really resourceful. And then the best part is under our classwork, which has been really helpful, is under all topics, anything we get, you know, we're going to so many meetings and after a while, everything gets to be like, I can't remember anything this meeting was about. We provide everything for them, for the teachers, to their service logs, our care template, remote IEP guidelines, Spanish informed consent. So we keep them, we try to make sure we provide everything for you. So everything is in this Google Moderate Severe Classroom. And then the best part is we do tutorials. I don't do them, but I've got some people who can do great tutorials. Some teachers learn things and they learn them really well. And we encourage, make a 3-minute tutorial. So if worst comes to worst, you go to a Google and you learn something, you're like, okay, I can't remember. You go here, we've got Fun Chrome extensions, Screencastify, how do you turn a PDF paperless. So we provide lots of resources for the teachers to go to, and by using this, like I said, by using our Google Classroom. So between our scope and sequence, between our Google Drive for resources, as well as keeping everybody updated here, this is what we use as a platform to support all our teachers, because that's what we're there to work as a team, to collaborate. work together. Who's got a better idea? Who has that?
So
The teacher.
Kari, I'm thinking this from my perspective. We also do use Google Classroom to do this. Based on our kind of wanting to share and be resources for one another, is there any way that we could set up so that we can share what we have going on and you can share what you have going on so that we can work even smarter?
Well, I'm going to
Sorry,
say,
you're like, well, okay, Miss Trish, you are from San Bernardino. I would just think of a way that we could all share together. I know the logistics of the technicality is wanting your head to explode right now, Kari, but I'm just thinking about the sentiment of wanting to share things together.
We may be able to find a way to put everybody in one classroom. You know, we can find a way maybe to join our classrooms.
Okay, that sounds good. And for people out there that are like, oh, wait, I don't work for San Bernardino and I don't work for RCOE, we will figure out a way, because I'm for let's share resources with as many people as we can. I just wanted to kind of put that out there. So Kari, I'm sorry if I ruined your mood.
No, I'm good. I was just laying this out because then the next two people after me, teachers, are our demonstration teachers, so they can show you how they work in a classroom. I'm just showing what we can do with the teachers. Trish and I will have to figure out the technicalities of how, if anyone wanted to set something up to support their teachers.
Yeah. Well, I'm doing the same thing. So RCOE has like a professional development one for the teachers that are involved. So I put resources in there, but I'm just thinking there's a lot of teacher resources that a lot of people, the 234 people on the Zoom would be willing to cut somebody for right now. So
yeah, and you know, in our drive, we organized, teachers submitted, we must have had like, I don't know, 400 documents of what everybody, you know, like turned in to share. And so we had to like organize, but we have so much stuff. I mean, as you can see, we've just got everything, and I would hate for anyone to like make stuff up, you know, or hunt for stuff. But we just have lots and lots and lots of stuff. And from our scope and sequence, we tried to make it, to make sure our scope and sequence was very activity-based, where things they just do, you know, we can share this with anyone, things they do at home. You know, you can find pencil, paper, a buddy to work with. We were trying to make it all, how can we take the standards of the basics and make them work at home for parents? So you know, we'll share anything. We'll share anything. I'm just not quite sure.
I would hurt you if not. Just remember, I use the boss, you guys. So if I threaten anybody, it's all in love. So
no, we'll share anything. But yeah, techie's not I'm a beginner, so.
No, it's all good. You were just like, I heard you panicking when I was asking the question. That's why I made Trish come on. So no worries, no worries.
My wheels were turning like, oh, she's up here now. She's up here.
I know. You're like, oh no, Shelly's back again. Now I'm panicking. Good times. Yeah. All right. So we're going to go ahead and transition to Deborah Nation, who is a primary elementary teacher at Bradley Elementary. And she has a classroom that serves multiple disabilities in moderate severe. We cannot hear you, Miss Deborah, so unmute yourself, doll. Debbie, where are you, Debbie? Debbie Nation, we cannot hear you, my love. Okay, Debbie, I just unmuted you, dear.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yay! Okay, sorry about that. I was like, it looked like I got kicked out, so I was like, where is everyone?
We're here, dear.
Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can. Miss Nation, kinder class.
Perfect. Okay, so this is the kinder class that I created on the Google platform. So we have it available for all the parents, and so our challenge has been whether the parents are able to get online or if they're even tech savvy. So like Kari had mentioned, you know, we really want to make a lot of the activities, the stuff that we assign activity based. So we do have this as an option, but I've also had to do several days of the week. I go and break up my kids and I actually call them and we do one-on-one communication with them. So on here, the parents will log in and I have a weekly schedule that they can open up, and each, let me go, this one's probably faster. Yeah. So each schedule here is going to have a rundown of when I have office hours. We do a morning check-in Monday through Friday from 9 to 9:30. And during that time, we have all the kids meet up on Google Meet. We say good morning. We, any concerns get brought up. So it's kind of fun. We've actually all become really close, talking in the morning, like a little morning chat. And then we start our circle time. So what I'll do is every morning, we'll run through a calendar, and I was able to hyperlink activities. So for example, this one, it links to a Starfall calendar, and we all go through it together. And then I kind of reminded all my parents, continue reading 10 minutes each day. Of course, if they have books at home, they can go with that. And if they wanted to go further, I signed up for Skybrary. It's kind of free for everybody this year with COVID. So we're working with that. And then every morning we go through our circle time songs. So I was able to create a link and it would take you to every song that we would do during circle time. I've uploaded the videos. So this is the same routine every morning. We're going through our circle time videos and songs. After that, we kind of go through whichever day it is. And then I have an ELA activity, a math activity, and PE stays the same. It's just 20 minutes of anything, but I did hyperlink Go Noodle. And then I work on one of the domains per week, except for Fridays. Fridays is my rec and leisure time. So for example, with ELA, I do have the option, they can go into our curriculum, the ELSB, which is Mo, and it's a story. It's hyperlinked. But if the parent doesn't have access to that, I have an activity just as simple as, hey, mom, dad, just have them trace their name. Let's work on that. How are they doing with that? Same thing with counting. I have touch math as an option, but if they don't have access to the computer, I just tell them, mom, let's work on writing numbers. Tuesday, let's count items in the environment. What did you count? Inside my classroom also, when you go to classwork, I have it organized so the parents can get to anything that they need to. So for example, I have speech upload, any activities, occupational therapy, websites that are very common that I use and I have the kids signed up under, different visual schedules, circle time songs and videos that the kids would be used to. I was trying to offer as much of the same routine as I have in the classroom so they can continue at home. Music activities, and then these are resources, and it's just something as simple as a shapes chart that the students would use in class, that they also have it here virtually. And I tell the parents, you don't have to print it out, you can just point to it, where's your triangle, and just to review this every day with the students. The other thing we did was we've been doing the click and drag. So like, for example, a visual schedule, it's an option. And so you're able to take the cursor and then move it over. Or the parent has the option to print it, and then they have these visual schedules available to them. So here's these are the resources. And then the other one is I do have two of my parents are just not tech savvy. And so I'm able to call them. We call them twice a week and we do IEP data check. And we just constantly let them know, Monday through Friday, they're able to call us, me or my aide, for any resources they may need, and we send out to them. But I do progress monitoring with them. I created this one on Google Forms. So I'm just going to pick one of my students right now. For example, one of my students, I created these forms, and so I'm able to keep this on the computer when I call them. And I'm able to say, hey, mom, the goal is identifying the 6 colors. So then in talking to them, I can write in the date. I could see kind of just by listening to them what kind of mastery, if she's saying she has to do hand over hand, it's a level 0. For the most part with the communication, I'm giving them a level 2, which is several prompts. Of course, hand over hand, physical. If she's saying she has a visual schedule, we're doing visual cue. And I'm able to decide, basically what I'm putting right now is other, and then I'm putting per parent. And under notes, per parent, he's able to identify so many shapes. What I like about this form is then it generates a report. So it's able to say, these are all the responses that I've made pertaining to this goal. It's showing me what the majority of the mastery is on him. So he's at a level 2 prompt. And these are the prompts that I've used, visual cues and gestural. And the kind of activities that I've been using. So this was an observation. Most of the items for this has been based on observation. And then right here, like 15% of it's been mom. So ever since COVID, I've been going with mom descriptions. And then these are all of my notes. So you could see, brown and green, he identified several prompts per mom. He's repeating the words. He says the first part, but not clearly. Just a lot of notes for myself. Then the good thing is after that, so his IEP is due. I can go here.
Debbie, can you share? There's some people in here that aren't as familiar with the basics, and so they're trying to make the calculation in their head. What is the key for the level of mastery?
Okay, so the level of mastery right now, let me go back over here. A level 0 is a hand over hand. A level 1 right now, we're using it as a behavior. And so if the child, say you tell them to pick up the pencil, write their name, and they chuck the pencil across the room, well, maybe we know they can do it, but they don't want to do it. So we're going to say it's a level 1 prompt. A level 2, you're looking about 3 to more prompts. That could be visual, gestural, having to repeat the cue. And then 3 would be 2 or less. Kari, I'm going blank on that. It's giving them one prompt. And then a level 4, more independence again, maybe a level 1 prompt with me, but then I also know they can do that out in the community. And then a level 5 is like you and I, typical, we're independent with all of it. So we could say, hey, go write your name, and they know the routine. So, and we have a rubric in the classroom, so we can refer back to that when we do the rating.
Okay, thank you. So there are other people in the room. The assessment that they use is the Sandy assessment, and there's different ways of going on. So when we're looking at assessment, I really love the way that you have kind of adapted it so that you can still work with parents to assess. So that's amazing. So thank you, Debbie. I'll give you an extra extra minute because I did that. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. And like I said, with the Google Forms, you can actually create this form. So like with Sandy, you could generate it to what you need, whatever questions. I just love the fact that it's able to collect the data. And then because of our goals, like, they can do such and such in 4 to 5 trials. So when I go over to the spreadsheet, I could pull the last 5 dates, and those could be my last 5 trials. So that I'm telling myself the child's able to do this at a level 2 prompt out of 4 out of 5 trials, or 3 out of 5 trials. So it's just great. I can even take it to the meeting and show them this is the data that we have, and then we can discuss the notes and everything. So that's helped me out a lot. And like I said, I think distance learning, it's been fun. It's definitely interesting. Coming up with a bunch of ideas. I love hearing from all of you guys too, because I think every little bit implementing it's really helpful. One more thing I was going to show you with the classroom. I've also set up this part. So like we do have boom cards and stuff. So these are all hyperlinked so that the parents can easily go into it and find that activity. So right here was boom cards for Wednesday. When they click on that activity, like Genevieve was saying, you can link you straight to the activity.
Find the donuts. Find the peanut butter. Find the jelly.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, so that's it. That's what I'm doing. We're just trying to find every other way to reach them. Like I said, some of them, no problem. They're tech savvy, they can get onto it. Other ones, with phone calls. Just having a lot of patience and being available for them.
Debbie, what do you think your participation rate is for the students in your classroom right now?
I only have 9 students, and so 7 of the 9 are participating. The other 2, I'm able to, I can call them and they're happy to hear from us. So I tell the parents Tuesday, Thursdays are communication day. I take half the class on Tuesday, and then my ABLE folks there are, and they're doing it over the phone or maybe a video conference on the phone.
Okay, I'm glad. I have no idea what you said because I just froze. So hopefully that was awesome and people were able to do it. Is there any other questions coming in? There's a lot of Sandy users on here, which is the product that comes out of RCOE. Do you want to kind of give any correlation or the ways that we might be able to adapt this for Sandy users?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, anyone's welcome to email me and I could go through in more detail with the Google Forms. There's also a website that I could even send out.
Okay.
And that one kind of shows you step by step on how to create it.
Oh, well, awesome. Ez, were you able, do you want to pipe in right here?
So I just want to just like Deborah's form was composed with the prompt levels, Sandy has something very similar in terms of the score 0 through 4, also based on prompts. So I just put a link in the chat that leads directly to the rubric, so that if you guys want to take a look, you can use that. So Sandy users, you're welcome to put together a Google form just like Deborah did, using the same information but from your Sandy. So thank you.
Debbie, awesome. And I love that 7 out of 9 of your parents, just for all of you to know, Debbie is in the middle of Baseline and Waterman. That's where I started teaching in 1998. And so that's great participation based on the community you're in. So awesome job. I'm sure it's because you're such an awesome teacher and connecting with them. So
thank you.
You're welcome. Miss you so much. We are going to transition now to our high school component from San Bernardino, and this is Sarah Holm, who has elementary background as well, and she is serving in a moderate severe classroom at San Bernardino High School. So take it away, Sarah.
Hello, sorry. All of a sudden we were yelling at kids in the house.
It happens. I sent mine away today.
All right. Hi, my name is Sarah Holm. I do teach over at San Bernardino High School. This year I had a class of seniors, and I've had them for 3 years. It's been so much fun. So what I have been doing with them, and Shelly, you had asked about participation rates, and I have a class of 8, and I have 7 out of 8 participating on a week, multiple times a week. I have one who isn't connecting as frequently, but we are at least getting some connection, which is good. So let me share my screen. I haven't used Zoom in a while. Let's see. All right, sorry, my computer's being slow. I've got the rainbow wheel. Okay, so can you see my screen now? Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes, ma'am. You're good to go.
All right, thank you. So this is my classroom, and everything we do, our district, San Bernardino City, said that we needed to use a Google Classroom format. So I do have my Google Classroom here. It's not as fancy as Debbie's. And at the top, this is where the students can get to us when we're having a Google Meet. But here in my classwork, this is where all the activities are that we're working on. I have some important information. I also have specific IEP goal activities that I'll address a little bit later. And then things that they do on a weekly basis. And then every week, these are their activities for the week. So for each week, what we do, and when this first started, I reached out to my team at San Bernardino High School, and we, like Kari mentioned, we knew that we were gonna need to do something that was a combination of technology and just home activity based, because we didn't know what the situation was gonna be for each of our students. So here now, as we've gone on, all of my students have been able to connect with the device. So on the weekly learning plan, I broke it down by the subjects and the domains, and there's activities for them to complete. And as you can see, some of them they turn in just with the class, they can go to the Google Classroom and turn it in, or some of them, they don't have anything to turn in, and some they turn in by a picture. And the pictures have been really fun because I get to see the students in their home doing things like their chores, helping cook meals, and that's just been a really fun way to, again, get that window into what they're doing. And so we have all the subjects, and then we also have then the domains, domestic, community, and anything here, I always hyperlink it right in the doc, so they could go straight to the website that they need. Very similar to what Debbie has, just not as fancy, because I have the older kids. So it's not set up day by day. It's set up, this is what I want you to complete in the whole week. And they're responsible for kind of monitoring their progress and their time schedule. Then at the classroom, all of those activities relate to an activity here. So if it is a Google Classroom activity, it'll be here under the current week that they're working on. And within each activity, we also have, sorry, it's not opening. Then there's also all of the links they need there as well. So it's just exactly what was from the weekly learning plan, but here it is once again with all the direct links to any website, to any Google document that they're going to use. And then this is also something that we found we can do for students who don't have their, are non-readers. We can put a little audio clip in there, and that audio clip is just going to read to them the directions. Let's see if it works here.
Sarah, I need to say out loud, people want your cursor. Where did you get your cursor from? They need to know where your wand came from. Okay?
So yes, that cursor, and yes, because I have Hermione Granger and her wand. It is an extension on, it's a Google extension. You can get the fun cursors, and I just went to the add more and found the Harry Potter ones.
Well, there's a lot of people, all moderates, and not all, you know what, I don't want to make a sweeping generalization. You know what, you need to keep people's attention, and educators are the worst one out there, and that kept a lot of people's attention. So thanks for sharing that Google add-on.
No problem. And unfortunately, you guys, I don't know why, but I think my computer just has too much loaded at once. It's not playing the sound, but it was really a nice way. It's just a way, again, because we have some who are non-readers, and we want them to be as independent as possible. As Debbie mentioned, and someone else mentioned earlier on, our parents can't be there with the students while they're doing this all the time. And so that's just a quick way to make an accommodation for them so they still know what to do. I've also taught them to use different extensions like the natural reader, text-to-speech. So I had all my students download that as well to learn, and taught them how to use that to read any text that's on the page. I do have a higher functioning group of students, but it's just important for them to learn those accommodations. So then what I do, the other piece to my classroom is, so I meet with my students on Mondays and Fridays as a whole class, and then during the week they work on their weekly learning plan. I also, my student teacher and I check in with each student once a week, so they get 2 check-ins a week for 30 minutes to specifically work on their goal activities. And what we did is we went through all of their IEP goals, and we created a document for each of them, a log. So here's the goal, and here's the objectives that work towards that goal. What we did after we wrote all that down or copied all that over, then we came up with activities that would match that goal. So goal 1, what could she use? What could we do to work on that goal from home? Now, some of them are things that we can't really monitor, like selecting 3 tasks, and she has to figure out which one, monitor her own time. That's something that her mom or someone in the home would have to kind of help us monitor. But any of these activities that we can do, we then during that session will work on that with them. And we keep our data right here on the date that we worked on it and what prompt level they were at for that goal. And our goal is to try to reach each of these IEP goals twice during this period of time. And so that's when I showed you the classroom. What I do is my students have gotten good at sharing their screen. I have one student who doesn't share her own screen, so I share my screen with her so she can see what I'm doing. But those activities are under the IEP goal activities. So these are all assigned to different students. From their perspective, they only see the assignments assigned to them, and we'll have them share their screen, go into the assignment, open it up, and then we're able to do that IEP goal activity simultaneously with them and document how much prompt levels they'll need. So that's kind of the approach I've taken to my distance learning for my students.
Awesome, Sarah. Oh my God, you went through that. You have extra time. What else do you want to
Whoa,
talk about?
that's unheard of, Shelly.
No, I don't even know what I'm going to be able to do with myself, because Sarah is a talker. Just so you 223 people know, she is not somebody who gives an extra minute up there. So awesome how you're using it. So do you ever talk to your other high school cohorts to see what they're doing? How are you addressing transition activities with not being able to go out into the community?
Okay, well, one of it is like we use their Google Maps on their phone to kind of address that. I do virtual field trips for community stuff. So they've gone to like, I've let them kind of travel the world this way, you know, because usually we can only travel San Bernardino. So they've gone and seen like a museum in Paris. I've had them go to the San Diego Zoo. And then they do like a little three slide slideshow for me where they have to pick like what they saw and tell me a little, you know, what they would choose to do if they went there to travel, or if they went to the zoo, what animals did they like. So I've done some virtual field trips for community based. I have a bus skills form that they have to use their phone for Google Maps, and then they have to fill in what was the address of the destination, what time did we leave, and I had them go places like the local movie theater or to their doctor's office. So that's how we've kind of been addressing community. Vocational. A lot of vocational is just work skills right now. I do have some where they can do interviews, like listen to interviews with some different professions. So I have it all, and I stopped sharing my screen. But we do try to address all of them, even if it's things like check out this job. There's a really good website that I found that has actually a colleague found it of mine, and it's like life skills, but it's an interactive website. So there's things like paying bills, checking your receipt. And so we're able to address a lot of the things that way.
I could use a reminder to check my receipts every once in a while. So that's awesome. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next person, but I do have a request from one of the chat people. They want to know other awesome add-ons, Google add-ons that you use. And if you could throw those in the chat, because they think you probably would have cool add-ons based on the fact that you're a Harry Potter fan, I think. So.
Okay.
All right, so we are going to move on to Molly, and I do not want to slaughter your last name. Molly works for the Orange County Department of Education, and is one of our partners with Sandy, and so I will turn it over to Molly.
Thank you, Shelley. Hi, everyone. My name's Molly Foltz. I am a coordinator with the Orange County Department of Education, Special Education Services Division. I am going to take a little bit more of a global or a bigger picture of what we've been doing in terms of distance learning with OCDE. So I'm going to attempt to share my screen, and hopefully this works. So I had all of this kind of planned, and then as I was listening to everybody's great things that they're doing, I've just kind of redid what I'm going to
my gosh, you're crazy.
Talk about. I know. So just to give a little background on our program, like most of you, we serve students with the most significant disabilities throughout the Orange County area and the neighboring school districts. We have students that are from preschool. We even serve some infants in our programs all the way up through 22 years of age in our adult transition programs. We have students with autism, with emotional issues. We have a really wonderful deaf, hard of hearing program. And we also serve students with communication, behavioral needs, and students that are medically fragile. So we really have a wide range of abilities, and it sounds similar to what you guys are serving as well. So rather than go into kind of the background and planning of our distance learning, I'm going to talk more about implementation, and I'm just going to talk about a few things that have kind of driven what we've been doing with our students. So the first thing that we did was we decided that we needed to establish a common learning platform. There were so many great things out there, but we wanted parents to have one place where they can go and access everything related to their child. So we decided that each teacher would create a Google Classroom, and that would be where parents would access everything. They could access the instruction, videos, links to the Zoom classes that they were going to use. and that also each related services provider would be a contributor and a co-teacher on each of those teachers' Google Classrooms. So we had hoped that that would really minimize the amount of moving around and looking for, oh, where do I go for my speech services? Where do I go for this? So that was really helpful, was to have each teacher establish that and then add all of their related services people, also including their paraeducators into their classrooms as well, because paraeducators have been very active in distance learning as well. One thing that was challenging for us was that we had, and probably you guys too, but we had such a wide range of technology skill. We have people that are digital natives. This stuff comes very, very easily to them, all the way to, teachers that don't really use technology even when they are in a face-to-face format in a classroom. So the range of experience was very wide, and we needed to be able to address that for our staff. So I need to go to another screen. So I'm going to stop sharing for a minute and see if I can go back to this other piece right here. Okay. Oh, it's back on there again. Hold on. I'm trying to get out of here, but this is covering it up. No, I don't want to do that. All right, well, I'll just keep talking since I can't seem to figure that out. But what we ended up doing was we created a training site, Google Classroom. So we have an assistive technology coordinator for OCDE, and he created a Google Classroom, which he invited all staff to join. And in that classroom, he has posted videos and activities with the purpose being to get staff more comfortable and proficient with using Google Classroom, since that was the platform that we were wanting everybody to learn. And so that was one way to really get people's feet wet with it, and it's been really well received. So once they had access to that, we had the teachers create the Google Classrooms. That was where all the content was going to live. The other two important pieces how am I going to do this? Hold on, guys. The other two pieces that were really important were we developed a planning tool for our, where is it? We developed a planning tool.
What is it you need help with?
I'm just trying to find the window that I have open. Hold on.
Okay.
Is that it? Can you see that?
Yes.
Let me try to make it a little bit bigger. But this was what we developed then, was what we were calling our,
there you go.
There we go. It's called our emergency distance learning plan. So this was a template that we created. This is directions for it, but this is kind of the essence of then what content went in the Google Classrooms, because we wanted to be able to individualize stuff as much as we could. We do have a website where we house a lot of general resources that parents and staff can access, but we really wanted to capture that individualization for the students. So we created this learning plan template where we were going to provide, if you can look up here, home learning opportunities. So looking at each student, how many hours a week could we provide materials of learning activities for each student? Some students don't need as much as other students. So we were looking at maybe even 5 hours a week. So an hour day of these learning activities, which can be accessed on Google Classroom. We also wanted to make sure that we were looking more individualized in terms of providing that specialized academic instruction. So we're asking teachers and teams to go through and look at each student and provide a certain amount of individual and or group specialized academic instruction. For a lot of teachers, this looks like getting their class together on a Zoom meeting or a Google Meet and doing some of the activities that other people here have described, circle time, morning opening, a calendar, morning meeting type of thing. So, and again, it's going to vary depending on student. We also wanted to provide consultation and parent training opportunities. So a related service provider could jump on and provide, even 15 minutes a week of this parent consultation. Really what it was was designed to do was create a minimum amount of stress and a high level of engagement for students and parents at this time. For those of you that serve this population, you know that a lot of our kids can't access this without their parents there, sitting next to them, helping them, you know, work the computer and click on the things. So we wanted it to be really user-friendly for parents and supportive as well. The other piece we look at in this plan is we look at their current services and we determine what are the services that we can provide through distance learning and what are those goals that we can address. And that's an individualized thing. Some students are still receiving, if they have 2 times a week of individual speech therapy, they're still receiving that and they're able to do that. So we're making adjustments with that as much as possible. The other piece that we look at in this planning tool here is how are we going to provide the instruction to the student? Is it going to be online? Is it going to be just, you know, more of an asynchronous model using email to email assignments or activities? We have some families that really don't prefer the online at all, and they have just asked that we provide work packets every week for them. And we still do that. They come pick it up or we mail it out to the home. The last piece of this right here, I got it into my header somehow, is looking at what are the accommodations and supplementary supports that we want to provide. So the first week, we were getting Chromebooks, laptops, hotspots, internet, all of those things, but also making sure if students needed their AAC devices, getting those out to them. If our students in the DHH program needed sign language interpretation or captioning, making sure that they have those things. And the last piece of this plan, oh, it's not on there, where is it? Anyway, it had to do with how often we were going to be looking at that and adjusting that. So I'm going to pull up one more thing here before I stop talking. And so based on that planning template that we had, this was the document that actually was going to go home to parents. And this actually is kind of similar to the one that, I'm sorry, was it Sarah that was just before me? She shared a nice little piece like this. And I actually really liked what she did, and I might steal it, how she had the initials and who worked on it when type of stuff. But so we took that planning tool, once we've determined all those things, then we look at each of the goals, and the related service providers and teachers work together to put some really specific things that they can do in the home, keeping in mind what things people have available at home to work with their students. And really those two pieces are what have been driving the content that goes into the Google Classroom, where parents are able to access that, and all of the instruction and services are flowing out from there. So that's essentially what we've been doing. I mean, now we were kind of in emergency mode before, and now that this looks like it's going to be lasting a lot longer than we ever probably anticipated, we're looking to be very strategic with how we're implementing distance learning.
Well, thank you so much, Molly. We'll have to make sure some people that ask definitely for your resources, and we will figure out a way to get that all shared. So we're going to now transition to, where do we go next, Miss Esmeralda? We are now going to our friends at Beaumont Unified School District. So Victoria Melton. Victoria, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. Well, we can't wait to see what you have. Victoria works at the elementary level, at the primary grades, and in an autism program. So hello, Vicki.
Hi, it's really good to see all my friends. I see all my friends from RCOE here.
Yay.
And it's been really fun to see you guys, and I've learned a lot already. I don't know if I can share anything to add to you guys, because you're all doing, I have a lot of suggestions that I'm going to try to implement. But I send home a slideshow every week, and I have the hyperlinks in it. Here's my calendar, just like you all do. And it's linked to our curriculum is unique, so it's linked to that. And that's kind of what you all are doing. The main thing, what I've heard you guys talking about today is like parents not being able to access. And that's what I've run across a lot. And I heard someone say that they had a problem with their parent getting logged into Unique, and I have had just a lot of problems with that. I've spent like 30 minutes on the phone with parents just, okay, now do this and send me a picture of what your computer looks like, you know, just to get them logged in. And so my parents and my population is very intensive behaviors. So my parents are really tired and they're really, you know, frustrated. And this the last thing they want to do is mess with technology. They just can't. They're dealing with too much. So I finally was able to get them logged in with the barcode. I used the barcode for Unique and I sent it all to their phones, and that's what's been working best for us, is just doing stuff on their phones because they know how to do stuff on their phones. So as I go through my slideshow, it's nothing that you guys haven't already seen. I kind of linked, I did the hyperlinks to the Unique stuff. And there's the barcode that I sent them. And I just kind of send them, each week I send them additional little things that I find, like writing activities. And I'd be interested to know how much like how many families are really doing this stuff, because very few of mine are. So that's, I'm really looking to get more involvement and more, you know, but it's kind of hard because it's the parents that have to really do it. My guys are second grade, so the parents have to, if I have a weekly meeting, and the parents have to get on. The parents have to be on there with their student. So, you know, you're asking and some of my parents work. So yeah, sometimes it's hard. I'm finding it challenging.
You're correct. What have you found that they have interacted with you the most and has been the most engaging for them?
Well, I have a few parents that are really diligent, and they're just kind of, they do show up at the weekly meeting, but so far we haven't done anything academic. We've just said hi and done a few little fun things, like a social story about wearing masks and a scavenger hunt. But listening to everyone speak, I have some ideas that I'm going to try, and I'm thinking maybe if I do start doing little lessons, actual lessons, maybe the parents will think, oh, I don't want my kid to miss out, so I better, you know, sign in.
Right. So
I don't know.
I could see, Vicki, that there's a lot of people that we're having varying amounts of people that some people are like, yeah, my parents are all in, but I have other places with RCOE that in some of the group homes, there isn't a lot of participation. However, I think, like you said, keeping up, trying to get them to interact does help that out. So.
And just keeping the communication open, you know, how are you guys doing? What do you need? We're trying to do that. And I'm also trying to involve my aides or come to my weekly meeting, my para educators and my service providers and the principals at our school. So that helps. The parents appreciate seeing everybody, even if it is just a fun activity. So yeah, I'm gonna start doing little lessons, real small, simple lessons, probably next week, and see if that increases my participation.
Okay.
And I love the phone call ideas, the phone call to work on IEP goals. I'm not sure. And like I said, it's a balance between, you know, trying to support my families and not pushing them over the brink, because I know a lot of them are right there on the brink. You know?
No, you are right. So something that just that RCOE kind of put out there is we want to meet parents where they're at, because some of them are struggling to get by. Some of their autistic students don't know why they're not with their friends, and so we really say, you know, you need to meet them where they're at and kind of maintain their skills. As far as I know, Beaumont is doing enrichment and not doing the full distance learning like RCOE is doing enrichment. So you're in the same place with a bunch of us. So yeah.
So here's I'm continuing just to show you my slideshow. I'm just giving suggestions of fun
Absolutely.
stuff.
Thank you.
Just stuff that I know that they probably have at home. And there's my office hours. I provided with the visuals. Timers really help with my students. And then here's some more resources. So I've learned more than I can share, but thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Thank you. Was there anything else that you wanted to share, Vicki, or you're good to go?
No, I'm done. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
No, lots of positives, and you're doing a lot. A lot of people are saying thank you, great visuals. People agreeing that, you know, you have to meet people where they're at and trying to get people to come in. And so Vicki, you are on board where everybody else is. It's great to see that a lot of people have arrived at the same place, even though we work in a lot of differing places. So that's awesome. So thank you. So we're going to go ahead and transition to Monica Martinez from Beaumont as well. She is a primary elementary teacher as well in the autism program. And I do understand if some of you have to log off to value people's time. I do know that it's 3 o'clock. However, we're going to continue on and we will continue recording. So I just wanted to say that out loud. But Maureen, sorry, not Maureen. I just lost your name.
Monica.
Monica.
That's okay.
I knew it was an M. Thank you, Monica.
That's okay. That's okay. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I am blown away with all the wonderful things that everyone is doing for our kiddos. I just wanted to share what's working for my guys. Like Vicki said, you know, out in Beaumont, we're doing enrichment. We're not really, you know, doing full-on instruction. But what we are doing is just trying to keep our kiddos in the same structure that they were having at school. And being that I'm the kinder autism teacher, that's a huge thing for my guys. That was the first thing that I did. The first steps that I did was just to check in with my parents and see what I could do to support them in the immediate moment. Because we didn't know, as soon as the school closures happened, we didn't know where we were going. We didn't know what we were going to be doing, what they wanted us to provide for the parents. And so I just immediately reached out to each of them individually and said, what can I do to help you? I don't know how long this is going to be. At that point, we thought maybe we'd be closed for a couple of weeks. So I thought, well, maybe I can give you some support aids, some visual aids, until I could get some answers. And so the first thing we did was we got together with our team to see who had what materials to share. Then we met with the special ed director who explained, you know, what the expectation was. And and then we just had to establish the format that we were going to reach out to our parents. Our site uses Class Dojo and Parent Square. So those were the ways that, you know, I made sure all of my parents had their Parent Square hooked up. All of them had their Class Dojo hooked up so that I knew that everything that I was going to push out to them was going to reach them. Whether or not they did it was another thing, but I knew that they were going to be able to access the information that we were providing for them. And then, like I said, I reached out to the families to see how they were, to make sure everyone was healthy, everyone was safe. You know, what can I do for you to make this a little bit easier? Next, our district, as with most districts, provided enrichment opportunities, sites, links on their district page. So I sent that to my parents right away. Ours looks probably like the rest of yours. On your district homepage, you have all of the links for things like Starfall and Zern and iReady and all the other programs that the students are already currently using. Then I had made my own document. Oops, sorry.
I'm
Oh,
not
wait a
sure that you're completely sharing. I'm not seeing anything.
I don't think so either. Hold on, let me see. I thought I was, and apparently I'm not.
Well, it looked like you were doing something, and I was like, sometimes I'm highly distractible, so I wanted to make sure.
That's
But I'm not
okay.
seeing anything.
I got ahead of myself.
It's okay, dear. That's why I wanted to bring it to your attention.
Thank you. Let's see. Hey, I think that might have done it.
I think you are correct, dear.
Okay. So look at that. Okay. So parent resources, and then I provided our parents with visuals. So I sent them some home schedule things that I just got off of Teacher Pay Teacher, token boards, first then boards, schedules, choice boards. It was a huge thing that we use in our classroom because a lot of the parents aren't using those at home. But if they couldn't print them out themselves, I actually laminated, printed, and had them sent out to the ones that told me that they weren't able to do that themselves. And then for our model, I just issued parents a sample schedule to help them frame their day, and it was super, super oh man. My sample schedule is very, very simple. I didn't use any fancy. I just printed out my schedule from Unique Learning System, and then I highlighted and put little recommendations for the parents. This is what you can do. You can log in on Unique, have them do one lesson, work on monthly challenges, or let them play, and then kind of went through. The parents who had questions contacted me. Those that didn't have any questions, they didn't. So another thing I provided for them was the calendar. And the calendar was pretty much like what our lesson is for the week. Every week I do a read aloud. We have our News to You lesson for the week. I post a video that has something to do with what the News to You lesson was that week. We do our Google Hangout together, and then an art lesson. And the parents, they seem to be sticking with our schedule. So these are our challenges. It's just something that they can do in the house that helps, kind of work on those skills. I have kindergartners, but this is editable, and you can put anything in there to either individually for each kid, or you can do it just on whatever your grade level is. And then I post everything on Class Dojo. So if a parent is wanting to work on the same materials, they can do that, because Class Dojo, I'm not sure if you all are familiar with Dojo and Parent Square, but it stays there. So they can go back and check. Here's my Parent Square. It has everything I've posted. So if they really liked the lesson, they can pull it up. If they want to go back and check on something else that was there, they can do that too. And same thing with Dojo. It stays on there. I posted a video on Class Dojo of my garden, because this week the News to You lesson was on gardening. So the parent feedback I've gotten is that the kids really, really enjoy the videos. So I've been trying to make more videos and send less paper and pencil activities, because those are not, they're not enjoying those as much, and it's really difficult for the parents to get the kids to participate. But when they see a video and then maybe follow it up with a worksheet, that seems to kind of help pique their interest and then get them to agree to do something a little bit more academic.
So Monica, can you do a clarification? Somebody wants to know what Dojo is.
Oh, Class Dojo. It is a parent communication
platform. So I can post pictures, just messages like, hey, just a reminder, tonight's our hangout. I can record videos, and I can post links to different websites. And this goes on to all of my parents. So today I posted a video on gardening, and it was just a little Sesame Street video on Grover talking about plants. I posted a link also about books for gardening, then my garden, and sent them pictures of my little garden. And then that was our news to you lessons for the week, which was growing your own food.
Okay,
So
we've got another minute, so I want to give you
Okay.
to wrap up where you're thinking at. So
No problem. And then I think that was pretty much all I had. Oh, our morning calendar. Just like a lot of other people, I post a morning calendar presentation, and it's in the form of a PowerPoint, and it has links to all the different songs that we do in our morning routine that we did in class. Just in the beginning, it says, today I'm going to have school at my house. So that, you know, kind of how it starts up, and then it goes through the attendance. All of our staff and our kiddos are in there, and then just all the different links to the songs that the kiddos like. And then I had another PowerPoint for when we have our Google Hangout. So when we have our Hangout, we do our welcome introduction. We check in with the kids. How are you feeling? We go over our class rules, and then we do our weather together. And then at the end, we do a little show and tell. So they each are allowed to bring something to our Hangout, and they describe it and tell their friends about it. And I enlisted the assistance from our SLP to get some sentence frames to send to parents, so that when it's their turn to share, that they have some sort of sentence frame to use when it's their turn to share.
Thank you. I'm so glad that you rounded out with show and tell, because, you know, I think a great way is to make those connections with students and connections with our families, and that's how you get them involved. So thank you so very much, Monica. It was great to hear from you and hear what Beaumont's doing. We're going to go ahead and transition right now. We only have 2 more left, and I am sorry if I have any failing of today. It is in timing. So we're going to go ahead and transition to Samantha Stokely. Sam, I'm going to slaughter your name, but she's an OI specialist that works for Riverside Unified, but her favorite place is RCOE, where she came from. So can you help us out today, Sam?
Hi there, everybody. Stoliker. That was pretty close. You did really good. No, I am very excited to be here, and thank you so much. Let me get my screen sharing. All right, can you see my screen?
We can.
Awesome. All right, so I'm going to minimize this. So Distance Learning 2020, and everybody has done a really amazing job going over what things have looked like for everybody. It's been an amazing time, and I think my favorite quote for this time, which I pulled from a webinar, was, "We are building this plane as we fly it." So that's really been what's going on. So gonna just go on here. So by me, I'm Sam Stoliker. I'm an orthopedic impairment specialist / orthopedic impairment itinerant. Both of them work. I also am an assistive technology specialist and a MOVE international trainer. And as she said, I work for RUSD, Riverside Unified School District, but I was born at RCOE. That's where I started. So what does distance learning look like? Well, I think everybody's done a really fabulous job talking about it. It's been a lot of digital collaboration for me, because when I looked at it, I was trying to figure out, how can I best support the students? How can I best support the parents? How can I best support all of the teachers that I work with on a day-to-day basis? And it's been a lot of digital collaboration. So we've been doing Google Meets. Our IEPs are through Google Meets. I have office hours for both assistive technology and OI office hours several times weekly. When I have a teacher or a student or a parent who needs to talk to me, we set up Google Meets for a one-to-one session. and we just make sure all of that is logged, and it just keeps us all connected. I do a lot of emailing. So emailing my colleagues, my students, my families, trying to make sure that everybody knows there are resources and that I'm here and I want to be in contact. I want to know what's going on. And sometimes I get a ton of emails and sometimes it's really quiet, but we just keep reaching out. I love Google Forms, and I think it was already talked about, but I use it for data collection, response collection, and direction for support. So I send them out to my students. I send them out to the family. I send them out to my colleagues so that I know how to support them. Do I need to focus more on doing some office hours discussion so we can come in and put our heads together? Do we need to focus on a single student and working on an IEP goal that the family has a question about? So that really has helped me to reach out to families, to reach out to students, and to reach out to my colleagues and support them in a way they feel they need to be supported. So that's been really helpful. A big thing for me has been persistence. I keep reaching out and I log all my attempts because, as we know, some of our families are a little overwhelmed. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of fear going on. And I just keep reaching out saying, hey, I'm here. I want to talk to you. I want to support you. How you doing? So there's been a lot of that. And that's for my colleagues as well. All of us are so overwhelmed at this time. There is so much going on. And sometimes just having that persistence and reaching out over and over is super helpful. And resource sharing. We've been doing a lot of hyperdocs, videos, Google Classrooms. I have an assistive technology Google Classroom, and we put up our links, we put up office hours, we reach out every week through a check-in. With my orthopedic impairment, we do that as well. So a lot of reaching out and sharing resources. The focus has been on accessibility because we need our students to be able to access. And access for every one of our students looks a little bit different. So for some of it, it's been supporting students, educators, and families with conversations, emails, video chats on ideas, adaptations, modifications to alternatives. Some of our students are doing the packets. We print packets and they pick those up and then they collaborate with the teacher on how to do those assignments. Some of them are going through Google Classroom. Some of them are doing FaceTime videos or Google Meet chats. So there's so many different ways, and we always have to just modify or adapt, give alternatives to make sure that the students can access. Lessons and resources, same thing. Access to online learning, what does that look like for each student? We pushed out our Chromebooks. Now we have to make sure that they can get on. So we've had a helpline for that. And then we reach out and just make sure, are you accessing? Do you need help? Are talking to the teachers? Are your families accessing? Do they need help? How can we support? For assistive technology, we've got online assignments, and I've got a bunch of helpful resources that I'd like to go through for those. Adapting lessons, alternative lessons, offline lessons, activity-based and sensory-based lessons for our students, videos, and etc. Except that says ET, I'll fix it. And of course, the big thing for me has been handling every single case on an individual basis because every single student is unique. They have their own strengths. They have their own preferred mode of communication. And sometimes we just have to tailor what we're looking for to them. Some of what we've been doing is, like I said, alternative or offline sensory-based, activity-based lessons. So these are things like going outside, going for a walk, finding things, putting them together on a page and snapping a picture of your art journal so that you can show your teacher, I went outside, I experienced outside, and this is what I saw. For helpful resources, the first one I wanted to share with you guys is Snap and Read. Now, Snap and Read is a screen reader. It reads aloud text, websites, PDFs, and Google Drives. It can also read in multiple languages and also co-writer. So this is it's a word predictive and speech to text program. And I'm actually going to pull us over to the Don Johnston website really quick because that is where these are. So this is Don Johnston. The first one we're looking at here is Snap and Read. So it does read aloud to you. You can highlight what you want it to read. You can adjust the levels of readability. So it actually will, you can see here, it's expounding, explaining the unknown. When you go down, it translates. There's a ton of languages, so you can have it translate a text for you. You can have study tools. So this actually collects things and cites them for you. I wish I had this in college. So you open up a website, you hit the button, it's showing right there, and it pulls things into a page with citations for you. You can remove distractions. So if you're on a web page and there's just too much going on, you can remove the distractions.
Now, Sam, is this a, I believe you have to have a paid subscription to this during the school year?
Not right now.
Woohoo!
It is free right now. Don Johnston has released this to be free right now, but yes, you're absolutely right. You do have to have a paid subscription typically, but for distance learning, it has been released for free use. It also has a picture dictionary. You can click on a word, it will give you the definition and pictures. So we've been really excited in pushing this because it's
No. We were very excited. We got it in San Bernardino. I just wanted to make it out there. So if you guys like it, dive in right now because it won't always be free.
Right. It's not always, but it's fabulous. And on that same vein is Co-Writer. So Co-Writer works with your Google Docs. You can see right here, this little yellow window is actually it trying to give you words. So there are two ways to interact with this. You can start typing and it'll start trying to guess what you want to say next, and you can press the numeral. So 1 would be paint, 2 would be stuff, or you can click on it with your mouse. It also does voice, so you can see right here the little microphone, so I can click on it, and the really neat thing about that is it translates. So if you have a student, after the speech recognition, if you have a student who is trying to write a paper and they're thinking of a word but they don't know it in English, they can click it over to their language, say the word in their language, and it'll translate it to English, which is really fantastic. So those are really awesome products. But again, right now, free. Typically, you have to have a subscription. Another helpful resource is Kami or Kami. It is a PDF annotator. It's really good for collaboration, good for assignments and note-taking. I'm going to go again over to their website. So it's called the Digital Classroom Hero. You can get a free account or a subscription. So when using it, you just open it up. So here I can open up from a Google Drive, my computer, a classroom assignment, or a blank page. Over here, go away, little thing.
You have about a minute left, Sam.
Huh?
You have about a minute left, dear heart.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so here I can just interact. I'm gonna just skip forward. I get so excited. All right, so you can highlight, you can write, you can draw, you can comment, everything. Helpful resources number 3. This has been really, really wonderful for sharing with teachers and families for activity-based and sensory-based activities. This is called Tinker Garden, and they just have really great ideas for outdoor play, letting students play, letting students learn at their own pace, and this works for everybody from kinder all the way up to transition because the ideas are what we're going for. Next thing is Move, mobility opportunities via education and experience. The focus is on sitting, standing, transferring or transitioning, and walking. For Move, what I've been really focusing on with my teachers, students, and families is finding natural times of the day when we move, such as moving from your chair to the toilet. Moving that is purposeful. We don't want to move just because somebody said we need to move. We want to move because we want to. Doing the movement that we can. Promoting and supporting choice making at home. Waiting, that's the big hard concept. Have them do something and then wait and let them do it. And of course, promoting independence, communication, and dignity. This is a video, this is actually embedded in my slides, so everybody will have access to it. This was done by one of the wonderful teachers I work with. She did an interview with me and also a lesson, and this is how she's been reaching out to her students. So you will be able to watch this at your leisure. It's almost an hour long, so we're not gonna watch it today. Big takeaway, collaboration. Collaboration has been key for working with families, for working with students, for working with colleagues. Collaborate, work together. You can fly this plane. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sam. I know time is of the essence. Thank you so much for taking the time to present with us today. A lot of great stuff. So we are going to go to our friends from Corona Norco, and we have Adrian Brewer, who is our last presenter for the day. Thank you, Sam.
Hi everyone, I'm Adrienne. I teach in an autism program, so I have students in grades 3 through 6 with moderate to severe autism. So I'm going to share my screen with you and just kind of show you what I've been doing. I don't know if it's up. Let me see. There we go. Okay, can you see my screen?
I can.
Okay, so I opted to use a Google site. So it's similar to Google Classroom, but you don't need a login or a password to access it. So that was one of the things that my students, I knew it would be a barrier for them to access these materials that I wanted to show them and share with them. So I chose to do a Google site, which is a little more work to set up, but it proved to be easier for them to access in the long run. So the first thing I have on my Google site is our Zoom meetings. So we meet once a week as a class, and then I meet one-on-one with students once a week. And not all students do the one-to-one meetings, but pretty much most of my students come to the group meeting. We have used boom cards like some of the other teachers in here. So like one of the things that we've done is a scavenger hunt during our group meeting. So I put in like a token board so that we can talk about like what we usually work for a motion break. So I don't know if you guys use like Go Noodle or any of those like fun videos, but my kids love them. So we choose what we're working for just to like motivate them to get through that. And then we try to think of the item, and I'll give control of my screen and they can choose what it is, and then we earned our token. And then once they earned all of them that week, we did a motion break together. So also on my class website is our schedule. So I do a suggested schedule, but I created a goal each week. So the first week we did, I just made it our goal for them to choose one activity. And I'm kind of shaping that over time so that they can work up to, you know, completing more activities during the week. Because I know it's difficult with having multiple kids in the household and not always having like the time or the resources to be able to complete all these activities. So this week I had them choose 3, and then I just created a video using Screencastify. I don't know if anyone's used that so far, but it is super cool. You can create videos of your desktop, and you can even include yourself in the corner. I use it mostly because a lot of my students are emerging readers, so they are not able to read the instructions I send out. So I will create a video so that they can watch me talking about what we're doing this week. My students are seated in Unique Online, so I have the link here. And then I also included like a printable version of the Unique that they can print out if they do not want to do it online. And when I do my one-to-one Zooms with them, I have them log into their Unique, and I will walk them through the activities and show them how to log on so that they can do that at home. So I don't know if you guys use Unique at all, but
yes, RCOE teachers do, and I believe Moreno Valley does. San Bernardino, you should ask your administration to get it for you because it is very user-friendly.
Yeah. So these are just the questions or the sentences that go along with the story for today that I assigned to them. And so when I meet with them one-on-one, I'll do unique activities with them based on their IEP goals. And then also I'll use boom cards like some of the other teachers have used. I also have them seated in skills, which is like online computer games. I put the motion breaks here because this is what we work for typically. A lot of my students are really interested in those, and it's one of the options on our schedule. I found these really great like vocational skill choice boards. So that's one of the options that they have. And then I just recorded lessons of me doing like a science experiment and whatnot. And what was really cool about this is that you can see how many views it gets. and I only have 9 students, but they view it a lot. So I think it's one of the most effective like options I've given them. Is they really like seeing, you know, our faces on Zoom calls and whatnot. And so when I can create a video for them, I noticed that it gets more access, like it gets access more than any other materials. So that's something that I just learned. But yeah, it's definitely been a learning experience. Also, I have my OT and APE resources on here from my service providers. So anything they give me to post, I can put on here for them. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Sorry.
No, you're doing awesome. Those are a lot of great things. I like, Google Classroom can be limiting, but it looks like the Google site is a little more able to break things out. It doesn't limit students, and so that is a barrier for kind of what's going on. So that's awesome, Adrienne. Great. It's visually very pleasing and very user friendly. All right, so we have come to the end. I am overjoyed with how this has come together. I'm not going to spend the time going into stuff, but I wanted you to see we're going to be using at RCOE flip cards to do a virtual talent show. And flip cards allows like short videos that limits them to like a minute in length to go up there. So we're going to be hosting a virtual talent show. I will be sending that out to RCOE people, and I could eventually share it with our network. Just the last thing before you run out the door, and I do realize that everybody has been overtime and we still have 150 people here, but I want you to take the time to do the evaluation right now. And so I will show everybody Flipgrid, but there is a QR code to the evaluation. I've also put the evaluation here in the side so that we can get some feedback. I would love to host another one of these again. Being able to share resources is a passion of mine, so I want to make sure that we get you guys what you need. So please take the time to do the evaluation, and thank you for coming today. Stay safe. Love you all, and I will unmute you, and you guys can all do whatever you want. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. That's overwhelming. I'm not going to do that. If anybody wants to do a shout out, hi Marilyn, how you doing? Princess, thank you for helping. Sam, thank you for all the presenters. You guys were awesome. Appreciate it.
Hi, Veronica.
Everybody is doing so amazing. I love it. I love it.
Hi, Monica. It's Coach Val.
Where are you from, Valerie?
I am from Corona, Norco. I'm an adaptive PE specialist, actually. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach Val. San Bernardino people, I miss you guys.
Coach Val.
Who's that?
Acuna.
Oh, hi, Acuna. Hi, Monica. I miss you.
I miss you. Sorry, I was muted.
That's okay.
Talking to myself like usual. Trying not to lose my marbles. I tell you, I've got like, they say there's pregnancy brain. I think there's distance learning brain too, because I find myself walking into one room and forgetting while I'm there. So I have to like retrace my steps until it comes back to me.
Pandemic panic, maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know where I'm supposed to be. And the only place I can go is my house. So I'm just kind of like looking around, like, what do I do?
I've been on Zoom meetings since 8 o'clock this morning. So I'm ready to go work out.
Yeah. Oh,
I need to. I've already achieved the 15. I need to start going back down to the.
I'll be making the video available. I'm seeing some stuff in the chat. It takes me a while to download it and then upload it, but you can expect it by tomorrow morning, and I will email it to everybody that signed up for the for this session today. Miss your face too, Kim Branch. Miss your face.
Hi, thank you.
You're welcome, Monica. Thanks for presenting, dear.
Of course, thanks.
I didn't pre-register. I just joined on because one of my coworkers was telling me about it.
Okay.
Do I need to pre-register to get the information?
If you could go ahead and register, that would be great.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'll make sure that I get it out to you, and I'll probably do invitations from that list. So it'd be good if you signed up for it. So.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and log off. And so have a great day. Stay safe, everybody.